Hey everybody, welcome to the Minds panel show. I'm Gov Spiders of Minds.com, social media of ideas and discussion. Today we're having a cluster panel. We're kind of mashing together a bunch of topics and hoping it doesn't take too long to sort of get our way through them. But we're starting out with the Strawman fallacy, sort of based on an offline show that we did a week ago or so that didn't make it to broadcast, but we're going to sort of extend upon those ideas. And then we're going to go a little bit into first impressions of Steemit, people's experiences on Steemit, the new social media application based on the blockchain. And we'll discuss a little bit about the brand new Minds cryptocurrency that's being discussed for our social media platform. Today we've got Lee Travis, we've got Dagwood, we've got Johnny Quid, and we've got Holly as the Minds panel show host. So I guess Johnny, can you explain a little bit of what the strawman fallacy is and where we were taking it last time?
Yeah. Okay. A little caught off guard. I was came prepared to talk about Steemit. That's fine. You know, me and Lee, we had a very similar viewpoint. The point I originally brought up when I held that panel was that there is an actual process that an individual can take to free himself from said straw man. It does still invoke, you're still involved in the system. We had a similar idea, but I'm still on the fence about whether or not going forward with legal reprimand for your own natural self. I think most people should probably know what your straw man is, but of course that is the dead man that was given to you. How is a dead man given to you that doesn't actually exist, and that's what holds and abides you to the company, which is this country, because there is actually no government, it's a company. And they can't impose any tax laws, anything actually on you, because that's your natural self and you're above them. So they had to find a loophole. They did through the maritime law, and they made us all ships, kind of. Anyways, that's really totally just A to L. But anyways, we got to Z. Lee had a really good point on his side. Don't give it energy. Don't even follow it. You are a free natural self. You don't need them. And I certainly believe that too. But there is actions individuals can take that you can actually protect yourself. And you can do even other things too. A lot goes with it, but I wasn't prepared to go back into that. I didn't know we were going to try and record that again. So I could turn it to Lee. Hey man, if you want to bring that point back up, I guess we can go back into this. I got to bring some stuff back up. I wasn't prepared for that at all. Way to left hook me, Gov. Right down to the mat.
Cool. Lee, did you want to give your take on that?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully I got enough bandwidth to stick on. I've been popping in and out here. So I guess my point is that you can do, it, I guess, one of two ways. You can begin to file paperwork and get your emancipation through the court system. Or, I kind of think that the best way to go about it is to sort of live your life, and then if the situation arises where you have to explain yourself, that's the time to emancipate yourself, I suppose, or at least, acknowledge to the system that itself that you are emancipating yourself, or that that really is just the stance of you are a living human being, and you don't have any allegiance to any corporations, and so you shouldn't have to sign on or create a contract or file paperwork with a corporation that you never actually had an agreement with in the first place. But on that note, the courthouse is your place to record documents for your trust, and so when there's a presumption of law against you, then that's your chance to step forward and tell the world the record. So yeah, if you wanted to comment on that, I guess we can start from there, I guess.
Okay. Sorry. I think there's more than just filing paperwork with the system. That court is for us, and first and foremost. And part of me looks at it as if, I mean, I can do nothing and not supply that energy, or I can also do what I feel is useful of my energy. I think there's more to gain through that process than just playing some little game. You know, son of a bitch. Hold on. I'm sorry. I just was not prepared for this at all.
I guess the big thing for me that comes to mind when we talk about the strawman fallacy is the integration between your person or your strawman and the data or metadata collected about you and your life. And last time we talked a little bit about UCN, which was the Universal Control Number that's being developed by the FBI to connect fingerprint biometric data with facial recognition. And I really think it branches out a lot further than that as far as connecting your habits and your interests that we would generally call marketing metadata to your strawman, to your supposed identity. It sort of builds a lot about you. And at some point when we start to correlate it with biometric data or things that have to do with our genetics in any way, how do we begin to continue to separate ourselves and keep claiming that I am a human man and I don't abide by this paperwork that you're classifying me under?
Hey, I'm sorry. There's things back in there. Okay, like, sorry, I had to bring up this paper I was looking for. Anyways, technically, you don't actually have to have a driver's license. You don't have to have a marriage license. You shouldn't. There's no voter registration. There's now, okay, now for that application, you don't have a driver's license. You don't get insurance on your car. You get pulled over. That's not going to be an easy process. That's not going to go well. But there is a process. You can actually, after filing, certain in order, the affidavits and your constructive legal notice, you can also then apply for your international driver's permit. Because actually, a law in the United States is within the state, you don't need a driver's license. Because once you declare yourself your sovereign state, you can be a foreigner in sense, and then you can just get an international permit. You don't have to have a driver's license. You don't have to have insurance. And then on top of that, you can also actually file for a do not detain. So then even if the police officer did stop you after the bullshit of going through everything, there's nothing they can do. They have to let you go. These things are attractive to me for that sense of the overwhelming amount of over-security that is coming, and that's here. And now again, you'll find yourself in the same process. Is that officer going to care? Is this person going to care? Is that person going to care? Probably not. Maybe, who knows? But I just feel that there's other things people could be doing to try and help themselves. But the argument, there wasn't even really an argument. What became between me and Lee was the simple fact of, whether or not you're going to make a choice to do this, or whether or not you're just going to live your life as you know how. And that's really what it came down to.
All right, I guess Stone Archer or Dagwood, do you have any comments in regards to the person that represents you through documentation since your birth?
On that, I'm sort of torn. I look both ways at it. I'd like to make a statement saying that yes, you no longer control me, and try to get a number of individuals to really sort of come out of the woodwork and do the same thing, maybe start a revolution in that direction. But at the same time, I think lending, as Lee was saying, that's just giving the whole idea legitimacy. It's like, why should we even have to acknowledge it? But on that, it's something that I know of a couple people that are really working to emancipate themselves. I'm still looking to get in contact with them and check out all the law. Definitely something I'm interested in, but still not very well versed. Whoever else is wanting to hop in there.
Holly, did you have a comment, or we can start to move on to the next thing? Okay, looks like we're hitting a little bit of technical issues. But so we'll move into our next subject, which is the new social platform Steemit that's been developed on the blockchain and is completely open and auditable. But there's also kind of a more sinister side to Steem as far as their cash out goes. I was just kind of wondering, for those of you that have tried out Steem before, what were your first impressions? Lee?
Yeah, I actually couldn't even get on Steam. I found out that you have to have or either a Reddit or a Facebook account in order to sign up, and there's like a first signing, and I think all the people for that first signing are already on there, and then they'll do a second signing or something like that. I filed a registration with my Gmail account. I figured that would help me along, but to no avail. They don't really work with Gmail. So I got my Reddit account, and I found out that I didn't have enough karma on my Reddit account. So then I tried to get back onto my Facebook account, which I made up a couple of years back, and my Linux computer system wouldn't allow me to get onto Facebook, so I have had zero luck getting onto Steemit. But from my impressions, it's a very closed system that whales can dominate, and if you have enough money, then I guess your voice will be the most important one. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, they really attempt to create a reputation system for even joining the website through other platforms, which is a little obnoxious for claiming to be an alternative social media platform. Johnny, did you get a chance to check out Steemit at all?
Oh, yes. Now, I'm prepared for this. Okay, Steemit. You know, I'm into crypto a lot. I wish I could be more. I'm trying to be a full-time trader and investor, particularly in altcoins. I love playing this giant game we call a Chinese casino, ruled off of speculation. Now, on that note, someone did actually post a really good article on Steemit. Now, sometimes this happens. About some of the, there is some blatant corruption. And one of them is that they've been driving the price down of Steem. There's you'd be surprised how much is actually transparent. You have to keep looking for it, of course, but there's a buyer of Steem power, as they say, but just Steem itself, like on Poloniex, that has almost just really, really rocking the timing. And they've been driving the price of Steem down. And they say that they're doing this on purpose to keep it close to $1. But now, bear in mind, here you are, you got into Steem 6 months ago. For every one of your dollars you put into this, you got back a certain amount of Steem, okay? Thinking, oh, okay, great, this is what my dollars went toward in Steem power, or Steem dollars, and so on and so forth. Well, here you are 6 months later, and guess what? You lost a lot of money. You lost a lot of money. I mean, Steem has crashed. It was almost over $3. It was like 305, 306, I think. And now it's just barely holding on to $1. But that's a huge crash in really a short amount of time. And there's nothing inside of it going up because they say they want to keep it at $1 because obviously that would transition better for Steem dollars being worth only $1. But it'll only stay down for so long. And because this is what I look at. If you don't have any interest in Steem, okay, that's fine. But cryptocurrencies, particularly these altcoins, they're small and they're ruled by whales. And anyone can look at Steem and decide what they're going to do with it and really play with your money, especially if you have no real interest in crypto and you just want to get paid for your content or you want to share that content. You can get burned really, really easily. Also, too, again, Lee, you don't have to actually have one to kind of figure it out, and it is dominated by a select few, and that alone is, what's the point? You're creating elitism because they dictate what does this and what does that, and then they have this other thing. Now it's slipping me, but. It's not even, you can't even just like something. You have to like something within a certain amount of time. And there's so much, it really becomes complicated on how they run this thing. And it is very much like a pyramid scheme. But if you have to like something within 5 minutes and it hurts you because you're all going to take a chunk of whatever this makes depending on your status. And I'm talking about the blog, the most recent blog or whatever, or what's trending or what's hot. And it's a racket. It really is because there are, actually Gov just posted on Minds a Steemit article from someone. I can't remember what her name was, but it was really good. And they won't receive as much as they should, and because their content is either viewed by bots, which that's fucking stupid, or the individuals who get to dictate what represents Steem for the future. After looking into that, and this happened a long time ago too, which ironically there was an article in Coinbase, which is kind of like Fox News somewhat, because it's just entirely opinionated. But there actually was something decent in Coinbase quite a long time ago, and people really ate Steem alive, and that it was destined for failure because all it really is looking from the outside is marketing. It's a giant marketing scheme, and that's all it is. And the fact that it's tied to two of the biggest social media, I mean, Facebook, you have to link your Facebook account to set this thing up. Well, what does that do? Plus, on top of that, once you get past that, you have to have the code. I tried to run a code off a third party, and they didn't let me put it in there. So that's not safe. And then you get in this thing, and then Facebook has linkage, because they do. You link your Facebook account. Well, Facebook knows what you're doing. And the thing that's really fucked up, they're running all of this, and all these bots are running for everybody, and they're looking for all these keywords. And it just looks like, someone throwing dimes into a swimming pool. But it's not. They're watching all of this, and they're all running, and they're all taking it in on everything people post, what people like, what does this, what does that, and they're monitoring everything. Everything. And they're drawing people in because people should be getting paid for your content if it's really worthwhile. Why not? You wouldn't just go hand out pamphlets of just brilliant stuff for free. I mean, I appreciate if you didn't. I would pay for your pamphlet, and that's the point. And that's, I guess, when we try to transition this, that's something we're going to try and get to talking about with Minds itself, because there's a lot of, Scenario has a good model. And I don't, there's other things that we could talk about to follow, but Steemit's a racket Bottom line, you can look at it, you can get on it, and you don't have to be there long. And it's a racket. It's a racket and a half. And also, too, the ability that Steem at any time could be corrupted from an outside force because it's available for trade on open markets. That's way too much power in the hands of anybody, really. So aside from that, it would be cool to, like, there is some interesting things they have set up there, but for the most part, those guys, the developers themselves, they had a plan, and they're really just executing that plan. Oh yeah, excuse me too, sorry. That they're not following their white paper. You can go right on there, you can read their white paper, they're not following it. And that right there everyone should just pack up and go. Because that's supposed to be, I mean, especially for crypto, I mean, that's huge. You got to follow your white paper. If you don't, the coin dies. Everyone walks away. At least that's what should be.
I mean, even their white paper, you can sort of see through all the nice wording and the expectations of what it is, and actually see the technicality of why it is fucking over the user. But Stone Archer, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, just a quick one. I was just going to say that with my first experience of going to the website, the first time I saw the actual entrance site to Steemit, right there in big letters it says, "Welcome to the blockchain," which to me seems like a pretty grandiose statement, such as, oh, we're all, on the blockchain now, and this is what it's like, and it can be extremely misleading. I understand why people want to go there, because just as Johnny put it, the content is good. There is good content there. People post things there that are really excellent reading and multimedia, and I feel like a little trepidation for anyone who puts meaningful content on there, because of another point that was made, that it's not more than a stone's throw from basically Facebook. It's just prettier. It seems a little bit more free and sort of less bullshit. And I'll post a link for an article that I read that I thought was pretty good, and it was posted on Steem. And that's what I also like about it, is that most of the things that when I research, because I'm not satisfied with it either, and I wasn't able to get on when I originally tried to go there as well. But there was a particular article that Anonymous threw up, which I'll post now. And a part of the article that I really focused on, which was part of the problem that I had, was that there was a decision at the beginning of things, or close to the beginning of things, with the developers behind the platform, that they would choose quadratic weighting, meaning that there would be a whale minnow concept, as far as it's been understood from my point of view. And so that may have had sort of a pure thought at start, or maybe just a different way of solving problems relating to a number of vulnerabilities that may come from just scatting points or value across the board with blocks on an even keel. And they felt that they wanted to go the way where they would have certain individuals that have more control over the platform than others. But all in all, Steemit for me is really just an interesting study with great things that can be taken from, but also a huge what not to do list, especially when it comes to the discussion of any cryptocurrencies that we might contemplate giving our input on, such as Minds Cryptocurrency.
I agree with Stone Archer. To me, Steemit really looks like a Facebook Reddit hybrid that has been made to look very pretty as far as the user interface, but also they're established on top of a crypto exchange, which kind of should already show their intent in the first place. But they claim non-censorship on the blockchain because anyone could download any action, but at the same time, they make it as easy as a whale flagging any user's post, and it'll lose almost all of its value. It'll be taken off of the trending section, and they will actually lose money on it. So whales can actually dictate what is seen, what makes it into trending, and what is blocked out once something is flagged. Most of the images on the page are missing, and you can't read a lot of the conversation. But also the main thing within Steemit here is that you can invest into the platform to buy Steem, and then you can power up said Steem into Steem Power. And the Steem Power that you have dictates your vote weight. So that is the amount of money that your vote is worth on other people's posts. So the more money you have invested, the more push you have in the community, and the more you can sway things. But also within voting power, it goes down within every post for the day. So there's incentive for whales to hold on to their votes, only vote for their own posts, and only vote for their friends' posts or posts that they significantly support. There's a very big pocket of whales that dictate how the vote power is distributed between posts. They can really decide what is trending and what doesn't get to make it into a seen area. Lately, I noticed you said, I haven't checked the prices, but you said that there was a fall in the price for Steem. And from viewing Steem earlier, I can really see that most of the successful posts are about why Steem isn't a scam and why Steem is successful, mostly things about Steem. But as Stone Archer said, there's some very, very quality content that a lot of users are basically tricked into posting. It sort of has a lot to do with the push from a monetary gain, but also a lot of people are really trying to make Steemit their own home and their new social media platform without a full understanding of what's going to happen. But so pretty much that Steem Power is locked in for 104 weeks once you'd like to start cashing it out. And it trickles out small payments every week for 104 weeks. And it allows them to keep their capital intact no matter what bulk of users decide to cash out, which at the very end, once everything is devalued and everyone's trying to cash out, they won't really have any money to give anyone. But yeah, I really do think it's a big scam that's going to have a lot of momentum in the beginning and have a hard crash in the end.
Looks to me like there's some people trying to capitalize on the whole crypto thing and either run out of this with a lot of cash when it crashes, or you never know, it might be a ruse and be put out there as a tracking tool and something that can be used to devalue cryptos and take them out of the eye of most of the population. It's really all I see on it. But I don't know, anybody else?
The marketing thing is big, because what's rewarded, of course, like Gov explained well about the whales, and it's more than that too. You can go there, you can look right through the channels, and they tell you specifically which ones make the most. Not just individuals, I mean categories. Excuse me. Which categories make the most? And of course, talking about Steem makes a shit ton of money. And then which is what. But photography does very well. So there is that draw for people, but of course many of these people, you can imagine when they got onto Steem, this was the first time they've ever probably downloaded a wallet, if they even did, or and then found out about trading, and they're like, oh, I go where and I buy this, or I buy it through you and I do this. Most of those, it could be the first time they've ever done that. They have no idea this whole other world they're getting involved in. And again, too, they're purposely driving down the price. They're purposely doing it. And they're doing it in a way that's very smart. I mean, it is, and it's clockwork. And this is all, that's, if crypto was well, fortunately, it's not, but if it was centralized and monitored and there was checks and balances, what they're doing is illegal. I mean, it is incredibly illegal. It's, which is another thing. You can't have insider trading such like that. I mean, especially it's insane, and you can watch it happen. I don't, and the Facebook thing, I don't think it's so much, besides, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna post, there's a whole section on anarchy, and if you're gonna run the gauntlet on just opening up and letting it all out, yeah, of course somebody may monitor that, but you're most likely doing that in many other places. That's not really that, if that's what you're doing, you're already doing it somewhere else. But this overwhelming machine of monitoring everything we buy and what we do, and it's another form of that. You can see it. It's that form of control on what we're going to see and what we're not going to see, what you want to buy, what you don't want to buy, what you want to like, and what you don't want to like. And you can already see it happening, and that's what those bots are doing. I mean, some people think it's completely random, and I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm not going to say it isn't, but I don't think it is. I think they're programmed a certain way. I mean, you could run them random, but I don't think so. I'm sure their algorithm has them set to look for certain keys, and they're gathering information. I mean, it's really what they're doing, and it is a hybrid. And but there is the nice thing about watching this is to try. There's a lot of people upset on Steemit. There's a whole section on talking bad about Steemit. I mean, that's awesome. At least they keep that. But think about all these people that really have worthwhile content. Well, they're going to need somewhere to go, but I would hate, some of them are, making a little bit of money. They should make money somewhere else. We should help them do that, because I sure wouldn't mind making a little bit here and there on content. I sure wouldn't mind sharing it. The whole principle could work. And we wouldn't. Also too, with the idea, you can't reward early adopters like that. You can't create whales. It just creates elitism and it creates problems. But within the network, I mean, you don't even need everyone on Minds to really adopt this. You really don't. And if everyone within the network was sharing all the time, everyone could be abundant in their content. I mean, you, of course, rewarding content that's valuable, but this idea is really amazing, and I'm interested to see scenario. I mean, September, we're right there. It's going to be a big month for them, and if you're interested too, you could say their stock, their coin AMP is really going up. It's crunch time. People know that September is going to be a big month because the news is coming. They're going to push this thing forward, and there's a lot to look at, and it's a great opportunity. I'm really glad this happened when it did, because these are really crucial times, especially with crypto, because of how many new ICOs are popping up. I mean, this is a lot of we're all talking. It's like the early 90s. It's like the .com bubble. I mean, it's really incredible how much is going on right now, and blockchain, Internet 2.0. I mean, how much future there could be with all of this. And it's really good timing, because these people, there could be another great migration in a sense, and there's a lot we could really put together and do it right. We've had a lot in front of us on how not to do it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really think that Steem is going to be a great learning example for all of us and for our entire platform, especially stepping towards Mindscoin. We're trying to do pretty much what Steemit pledged they were going to do, and bring value towards ideas and towards art, which is also sort of the idea of N99, the idea of scenario. And there are a lot of these projects that are really trying to bring value to people's posts and ideas online. And I think we're really going to start getting close as we bring these different constructs together in a way that we learn from our mistakes and facilitate a new horizon for bringing crypto into the mainstream without, kind of like what Stone Archer said, misrepresenting all of what that means and turning people off to the idea. There are a lot of big drops in Bitcoin recently because of exchange hacks, where people that aren't so aware are terrified that the actual coin has been hacked. There's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of people, and these different experiments that are going to end negatively in the favor of the artist or the creator are really going to send a lot of people going. It looks like we have Bill Ottman in the call just in time for... Bill, are you there? Can you hear us? We were just about to start discussing a little bit of the idea for having a Minds crypto coin and why that could be beneficial. All right, he might be joining us in a minute. Might be setting some stuff up. But so basically, we're still hashing out and discussing all of the ideas behind the Minds coin. It's sort of a community effort, and that's why we're bringing it for all of us to sort of talk about and come up with better ideas, come up with ways of doing things that might surpass the way that Steemit and these other platforms are rewarding users, with quotes around that. But so each day a fixed number of Minds coin is created and will be distributed to the users based on the performance metrics of their content with a diminishing return for more than X amount of posts per day. So basically this is the idea that a certain amount of coin will be generated every day on Minds and be distributed amongst quality content based on their performance metrics, which might be their upvotes and their reminds and things like that. We've already addressed that prior to making any of this a reality, we're going to have to end a lot of gamification on Minds, meaning that you wouldn't want to have a lot of somebody's bots vote up their own post so that they receive coin, because then they would be creating value but also diminishing value because it's being ruined. But so once all of these things are addressed and we can really get down to the bottom of Minds coin, it'll reward the users based on their metrics of a post, based on the amount of posts that they've posted in a day. If you post a lot of posts and maybe one of them gets a lot of impressions, they'll have sort of a decay based on the extensive amount of posts posted. But I just sort of wanted to explain the preface of where we're at. Bill, are you there? Are you all set up? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, hey.
Cool, man. What's going on? I was just doing a little explanation of what the idea for Minds coin is. We just finished up a little bit on Steemit. Do you have anything that has started you on the direction of Minds coin as crypto for Minds?
Yeah, definitely. We're hashing it out, and the key is to make it fair. I think that Steemit is an interesting experiment, but the criticism of it is totally warranted, and it's clearly controlled by a small number of quote-unquote whales, is what they're calling them, and it's only 10% proof of work, I think. So it's very centralized, very controlled by a small number of people, and it seems that the whales are rewarding influencers who come in to bring in more users. And there's a lot of things that I like about the idea, but it also seems like there's a lot that they're not talking about. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to keep creating more and more fair currencies, and that's what we're trying to do. Hello?
Yeah, the biggest thing for Minds all around is going to be fairness, and any sort of these platforms is going to be fairness. That we sort of talked about how whales have vote power that can influence posts, and even their own posts for the amount that they're worth, based on how much they invested, and then that investment is basically locked in. But through explaining a little bit of accurately rewarding quality content on Minds, we sort of discussed a little bit of how we can quantify posts, and we kind of need to come up with a definition for what is quality and what is worth earning a certain amount of coin, and what sort of mechanisms we can use for the user to spend coin within mines, so that it goes back into the flow of currency.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of specifics we need to hash out, because I would figure you would earn it through, as Raul said, views especially, but potentially also votes and comments and reminds. But then you run into many more issues with gaming, and you don't necessarily want to limit people's ability to, on Steemit you can only post like once every 5 minutes. So we sort of have to decide if we want the rewards of the coin to go maybe only for views. That I think would diminish the ability to game it, because views are a very natural stat that is hard to game, and ultimately views are pretty much the most powerful thing. I mean, whoever's creating the most views is going to be in a good position. But I think that votes and reminds and comments should potentially also come into it. It's just a matter of getting around the gaming.
Did anyone have a comment on gamification or where to move forward as far as Minds Coin potentially?
I mean, I think that the other issue with Steem is the very limited number of miners. It's not really, it's nothing like Bitcoin. It's really, I think there might be, I don't remember how many, but there's only a few miners. And it was a lot of the...
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Bill. No, their hash rate and their difficulty isn't. No, that's another thing. I don't like Steemit.
Who's talking?
My name's Johnny Quinn.
Hey.
Hey, what do you do? Would it be proof of work?
For mines?
Yeah.
Definitely significant proof of work. It has to be more than 50% proof of work.
Okay. And then, Jesus, man, kind of. Yeah, the gaming thing sucks. Would you? And then, how would we mine? Would you do CPU? Would it be GNU? I mean, what would we do?
Well, the question is, do we do merge, or our own mining thing? And I'm actually really interested in merge mining, so we're sort of discussing that, because really, or it could be a hybrid. So we're having a lot of debates about it, but starting from scratch is really difficult, and then you run into problems like what Steemit's having. Establishing a huge mining community is no easy task.
No, absolutely not.
So merge mining, like Namecoin, very successful project, is merged with Bitcoin. Dogecoin's merge. There's lots of benefits of that.
Yeah, well, Navcoin is got a really hell of a system. NXT is, I mean, Ardor is coming up, but there is a lot going on out there. I mean, I actually was thinking about that too earlier, when we first started talking about this, that there is so much new coin and technology going up, and we don't really have to create something all our own. We could use something else and then just kind of branch off.
No, I don't think that starting an entirely separate coin with all of our own mining makes really much sense, because it's really hard to establish. There's already lots of miners out there that we can harness, and we should harness them, because it empowers them and empowers us and keeps the system more fair. Because if you start from scratch, then you have a few people who get in early and dominate. Right. And there would be no way that we would be able to avoid that.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that originally when we started the point system planning, we were thinking about doing this honestly like a year and a half ago. with crypto, but I'm pretty glad we didn't now, because we've learned a lot from the point system, and we've also learned a lot from the mistakes that other reward social networks are making. So we're able to watch and see what's going wrong, and it's pretty clear what's going to happen to Steemit. I think that they could potentially evolve and make changes to make the system better, but I don't know if you guys have watched any of those debates with like Tone Base and on the World Crypto Network. They've had some great debates about Steemit, and you know, Tone is getting a lot of shit for his criticism, but it's really all about proof of work and sort of the haziness around what's really going on with these whales. But, you know, at the end of the day, I do appreciate the general idea. It's just seems like they're not really being too straightforward with what's really going on.
Yeah, it's a definitely a fancy user experience based around a profit model, that they're going to hold up a lot of people's investments for a long period of time, and in the end, a lot of people are going to come out with nothing. But what we're looking at is actually creating value behind these ideas on mines, and so we have to look at accurately recording these things without gamification and actually rewarding the users what they deserve, which actually hasn't really happened yet on any other platform. So it's kind of a big feat, and it's something that we're going to have to sort of get rid of the human aspect of. Humans cannot be trusted ever in any position of power.
One of the successful things that we've really noticed with the boost and point system on mines is that anyone who puts work in can come out with exposure and can be rewarded. So, you know, even though we do have some people trying to sort of game the point system a little bit, you know, that's actually all positive work, because, you know, people finding the holes, that helps refine the system. It also does generate site activity to a certain degree. It helps us de-game the site. But, you know, for people who don't have viral content, who want to get their word out there, it's much easier to do so on Minds than anywhere else. I mean, if you're active on Minds for a couple days, check in all the time, upload a bunch of content, you know, you're gonna have enough of points to get some eyeballs on your posts. And the thing with Steemit is that there's nothing like that. There's no guarantee that you're gonna be gaining visibility. It's really up to people with the currency to help you get that. So I really think that Minds is sort of more appealing to just the normal person who deserves to have their voice heard.
Can mining be tied to actions within Minds itself? I mean, I know that it's sort of a gaming kind of concept, but just the actual mining of the coins coming into existence.
Yeah, I think that that's what it would be. It would be some sort of hybrid proof of work, proof of stake system where part of it is, you know, running with maybe on a merge mine, and then the rest of it is generated through site activity, views, success, that kind of stuff.
Do you think it's possible to fork an existing coin for utilization?
Yeah, I do. It's all, but I'm not sure specifically right now which one, and it's probably going to be more custom, but we'll definitely have to fork something.
I was thinking Feathercoin is something that I've been following, and I'm not sure that it has the same kind of mechanics because I think it's based on a different kind of proof. But that was one that was interesting to me.
Yeah, we've got a couple people hashing out some white papers right now, like very deeply. So, and I don't have those yet, so I'll make sure to update you guys as soon as we get those and as soon as we start the dep. But to me, this is a huge priority, probably near the top of my list for the next initiatives. Right now, we're putting a lot of energy into monetization. I mean, I think that monetization is really the future of the most successful platforms on the internet, whichever site is able to reward the users the best, from tools like rewarding with cryptocurrency to crowdfunding to typical monetization like YouTube and running ads over your content. I think that's all fair game, and whichever network does it the best and gives people the most options is going to come out on top. So that's definitely our priority.
Is there an objective to potentially replace Minds points as they are, or to run a cryptocurrency with a token in parallel?
It would be alongside. I don't think there would be a need to get rid of points. I think you would earn both. And you could potentially buy points with the crypto too. Because the point system is quite different. It sort of serves a different purpose for boosting, as opposed to, with crypto you can earn it and then you can cash out. And I don't think we would want to put nearly the barriers in place like Steemit has for cashing out. That all seems pretty shady. I mean, I understand they have to protect themselves, but it just seems like if the system had real integrity, then it should allow you to cash out whenever you want.
That just gives them time to run to Acapulco before everybody catches them.
Right. Though,
So-
I've listened to some interviews with them, and they're, it's a profit motive, like GovSpider said, and some people look at it from the perspective of, oh, they should be creating the most fair system, or other people give them the benefit of the doubt and say, look, they're a startup, they're trying to make money, there's nothing necessarily wrong with making money, and they're doing something unique. It's just, it shouldn't be hailed as like the next evolution in internet rewards, because it's clearly based in a profit motive. What ends up being the next evolution in internet monetization is going to be something that is totally fair. So it is a step in the right direction, I think, and but that's all it is. I don't think it's you don't want to give them more or less credit than they deserve.
Yeah, it sort of correlates to our original thing with the Strawman, is that it's worth giving energy to understand, but also at the same time not worth committing all of our energy to as the end all be all. But there's definitely a lot of these platforms out there, and we sort of stick to our own. They sort of stick to our own. People on C-Line sort of stick to their own. And a big point that I try to always make is that we're all going to have to come together to create this ultimate platform that we're trying to generate, this platform of fairness. I don't think there's a way to achieve it without everyone on board.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are ways to collaborate with Steemit, with whatever other network out there. We can create federation bridges. We can do plugins. We can sync up. There's no reason not to do that. And I'm not sure is Steemit.com open source yet? I'm not sure if it is.
I actually don't know. All I'm aware of that's fully open is their blockchain is the main feature, that anyone can go and download the blockchain and all activities on the network.
Yep. I think that is a pretty cool thing. And I think they're storing text on their blockchain as well. So they are able to curate the main feed in Steemit.com if crazy stuff gets trending that they feel uncomfortable with, but it is uncensorable on the blockchain. So I think that is pretty cool. That's something that we don't really have, which I think that uncensorability, I'm not sure if blockchain is really the right place for it, but creating uncensorability is really important. Because you can't store, I think there's a tool called IPFS, Interplanetary File System or something, and that maybe can help add more content to the blockchain, like rich content. I might be pulling that out of my ass, but that's another important issue. So a blockchain is definitely going to help minds, and we'll get there. We need developers.
I'm wondering if the points themselves could be a side chain, like based off of, like, connected to the actual coin, because I think that the Minds points aren't exactly what's the word? I mean, I think that some of them can be put into existence without just voting. I think there's a way to manipulate them. That's what I'm saying.
Currently?
Yeah. Yes. Currently, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We've been having some talks about voting. I mean, do you think that you should even earn a point for voting? Some people have been criticizing the fact that if you earn points for voting, then it kind of skews the vote. Because if you earn points for voting, then people might not. I think that that's rarely happening. I think that if you're going to spend the time to vote on something, then you kind of want to vote on it. But it does sort of take away some of the integrity of the actual vote.
I have always thought that votes should cost points, whether they're positive or negative, and it would make the gamification of farming points less harmful if people were farming them so that they could vote on more things. And then those votes wouldn't positively affect them. They couldn't just spam down an entire list, just voting or downvoting to gain points for themselves.
Yeah. I think that that's how it should work with the crypto, but there's something really good about earning something for everything that you do. It's every action, this idea of earning something for every action you take. I mean, you're putting energy into the network. Every piece of energy that you put in is helping the network to a degree. So we could potentially keep the points as they are and then have it structured the other way for the crypto. Because I do believe that every click matters, and to get some sort of reward for that is kind of nice. Even though it is a little bit gameable.
Yeah, I really think we can sort of embrace the devaluation of the points and move forward with that and take them less seriously.
Right.
Sort of embrace gamification and just mainly make it about views, and then put the actual value behind the currency would probably be the way to go. That sounds about right.
And we'll have to separate boosted views from organic views, because then you could potentially boost with points that you gained and then earn the crypto for the views. So we have to separate different organic views versus boosted views, but that's not really that big a deal.
Okay, yeah, no, I see that, because that makes sense, because then even though you've boosted, the only extra potential you have is maybe someone else reminding your boosted piece, and then getting views from there would probably be your only benefit. But yeah, if the views from boosts aren't counted. That would definitely help out with making that fair.
I'm wondering if it could be called something different, because it might be thought of as unfair if you boosted your votes and you didn't get the views. Maybe it could be considered not the same thing.
Like a totally different type of view.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you have views that you get paid for, and then you have something else.
Hmm. Yeah, that might be easier actually.
Johnny or Stone Archer, did you have any comments on Mindscoin? All right. Sorry, go for it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I just had to tweak my sound setting there a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to say that I brought it up a little bit earlier, but just sort of wanted to reiterate a little bit about the research that I began to do. If I were to have any sort of meaningful collaboration on the coin for Minds, that what came back again and again was sort of what I called a sort of a large what not to do list that I was basically feeding from Steemit. But I can include that in my notes. Basically, the main point of it being that, and I know that mine sounds like would head in a different way with this, but as far as the even distribution versus Steemit's whale method, which I see as the largest issue that will ultimately be the largest problem for Steemit. Well, one of them, I do have some other thoughts about that, but I did listen to that interview with Tone Base, and I loved it. I think that he had great points about his misgivings with regard to Steemit, but with regards to Minds Coin, I liked and will keep this in my notes as well. The idea that you, Bill, brought up about Federation bridges and how that would ultimately benefit mines because the bridges that are created are bringing people to mines. And I think that at some point there are going to be a lot of people dissatisfied with Steem as certain things. I don't want to say I'm predicting it, but there will be certain things that will happen that will make a large amount of people dissatisfied with that platform. I do see that happening, and keeping those bridges open. I absolutely agree with you on that. That's a great way to look at it.
What have we got? 104 days before we find some seriously disgruntled Steemit users.
Why do you say why 104 days?
104 weeks is what it takes to power down and cash out.
Oh, right. Yeah, so many people are signing up with really no idea what they're getting into, and they don't understand how it's actually working behind the scenes. They just see people making money and think that that is going to happen to them, but they're actually propping up something that doesn't really have any legs. So, you don't want to point fingers and call the creators of it, like they're behind a Ponzi scheme or something, but I don't think that it's really as transparent as it needs to be. I think that at least in the sign-up flow, it should be more clear what is really going on and what you're getting yourself into. And I have heard them say things like, oh, you shouldn't really think of it as a currency. It's more of, like speculation and, kind of more of a point system. But I just don't think that they're really being clear enough, and people think that they have all this money in their Steam account, but they just don't. If they were more clear, then it would be much more okay. I mean, because as long as people know what they're signing up for, then there's really not much problem with it. It's more of a game system.
Exactly. It's really going with the assumption that nobody's going to read into the white papers or their terms or how they're going to get paid. They just know that there are dollar amounts next to posts,
Right.
and they're striving to achieve that. It's creating a lot of quality content, as we said, but these users are really going to get they're not going to get what they're expecting by any means. And I really do think that Lee's right that within a little over a year or so, we're going to really see a lot of people with a lot of problems about Steam coming out.
Well, and the influencers that they're bringing in, you know, they're feeling great right now because some of them are making tens of thousands of dollars, but they're going to feel kind of shitty in a year when they brought all these people in and they sort of are going to realize that they played a role in propping up something that doesn't have a spine. So, you know, it seems like even they're sort of being manipulated. But, you know, I really don't want to hate, because when I first saw Steemit, I was pretty excited about it, and I appreciate social that rewards users, that wants to reward users on some level. So, yeah, but it can be done better. And it would be cool if they were just more out in the open, having more discussions about it. I think that the founders, I haven't heard much from them in the last few weeks.
Well, it seems like we have a timeline to develop Minds Coin and make sure that it's up and running and working before that fallout happens.
I really don't. I think that whatever emerges as the ultimate, most fair, awesome reward system is going to on its own, and I don't really think we have to worry too much about competition and stuff like that. It's really much more collaborative. Even just observing what's happening to Steemit is super important for Minds and other sites that are developing reward systems. So, you know, and ultimately, if we can all build federation bridges so that, you know, if someone posts on Steem, it posts on Minds. If someone posts on Minds, it posts on Steem and Diaspora and all of these other decentralized social networks, you know, that's really where things need to go. And each network is going to have its own benefits and its own special features and its own currency, in the same way that many different countries have, you know, their own currencies, and you travel around and you spend this there and you have a bunch of different currencies. So it's not really a one ring to rule them all type endgame. In fact, that's not what we want. So, but it's sort of counterintuitive, because typically people think, oh, what's going to be the next Facebook? What's going to be the next Google? Is Steemit going to, you know, get bigger than Reddit? But it's really not about that. That's not how the internet is going to evolve. Yes, there are going to be big social networks, and there's going to be a handful, but it's not really a race in that sense.
I suppose that was my biggest disappointment with the whole Steemit, is that, you know, I've spent my time on Minds for the last little bit, and I've been on Twitter, and I've been on Google+. I kind of avoided Facebook. I did have an account there, but I can't get on it with my Linux machine. But that I wasn't able to get on Steemit, you know, and I'd spent all this time online. Like they were, you know, funneling me down to these two platforms, and I didn't really spend a whole lot of time on Reddit. I read a lot of Reddit articles. I just don't comment and get involved in the community. But it just seemed like a big, you know, punishment just because I wasn't on their platforms, you know.
Wait, what do you mean? You were punished because you didn't get in there early?
No, punished because I wasn't a Facebook user.
But I don't really understand why that means that you're. Why were you punished?
You can't register an account on Steemit without a validated Facebook account or positive karma on Reddit.
Oh, I was able to sign up for, because I think they're having scaling issues actually. You used to be able. I signed up for Steemit just with my email address. I think they disabled that because they're having back-end scaling issues. So the fact that they're using Facebook and Reddit authentication kind of shows that they have some infrastructural problems. If you can't sign up with only an email address, then that means something weird is going on. They disabled that because I think their system went down.
Interesting.
Because third-party authentication, it's actually kind of sketchy, to be honest. The point of an independent social network is for the social network to be independent of Facebook or Reddit. I mean, Reddit auth is not bad because at least Reddit is open source. But hopefully they'll add back their own authentication.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to use Google, my Google address several times. It's been, I know, not even a confirmation. And like I said, I have a Linux machine now, and I can't access my Facebook account, which is really strange. And then, of course, when I signed up to a Reddit account and got a few of their karma points, it wasn't enough to sign up. So that's the unfairness, because I've spent quite a bit of time online in developing my my pseudonym, and it just seems like, wow, I think they mentioned that they're like doing it in waves. They're going to take on another wave at some point, and maybe I'll get a confirmation in 6 months. Who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, the fact that they're limiting their own growth means that they're having scaling problems, because there would be no reason to not be letting everybody in. They were letting everybody in, so I'm definitely curious what's going on there.
Excuse me. I think it's on purpose, because that Steem is traded openly, and they have to be very careful on monitoring the actual value of Steem on the outside, as opposed to all these new people coming in, putting money in on a constantly fluctuated market. Plus, too, Facebook, you can't trust that. That's not good either. There's probably something there too, but they have to be very careful on the currency exchanges, and and that you have to wait so long to pay to post because the price is constantly changing and fluctuating as is. And they purposely have drove the price down of Steem. I mean, you can go back and you can look at the last 6 months, and it's clockwork that they go in and a big buyer comes in. They even have a name, and there was actually an article on Steem by a guy on Steem about it, and they had, I can't remember the name, that you can go, because you can go back and look at the books and everything, the order books, and it's clockwork. And they purposely drove down the price of Steem, and they're going to keep going, like you said, the power down, but they're going to keep going until it's pennies, and the people are going to still be signing up, people are going to still be putting in dollars, and it's not going to be there, and out the door they go.
This is probably. Oh, I was going to say.
Sorry, I will call them. It is a pyramid scheme. I'll call them that. It's a Ponzi. I don't trust any of them. I'll say that.
That's the most interesting part of this, I think, as far as the study of Steemit is that what does trading, the coin that's a part of the social network, do to the value of it? Because I think that's going to be the most interesting, thing that we can watch for Steemit and possibly any other social network that's going to be using a reward coin that can be traded on an exchange for dollars. So that's because the exchanges that they're getting, manipulated by the whales and of the book, the books.
Yeah, as we roll this out, we need to peer review it as much as possible. Once we get our initial white paper done, we need to bring in all these people like Tone Vase and others criticizing Steem and other Bitcoin crypto experts, because once you launch the coin, you can't change it. And if you do, you're getting into muddy water, which you really don't want to, like what's happened to Ethereum with all their forking, and it just, you have to get it right. And if you don't, then you're in for trouble. And even still, even if you don't change it and you put it out there, there's just so much pressure when you're launching currency, dealing with people exchanging money. I'm really glad that we didn't do it up front. When Steem came out, I was like, oh, damn it, what? I knew that we needed to, launch the crypto, but at the same time, we have to be patient with it, because if we don't do it exactly right, in exactly the most fair way possible, then it could cause huge problems. And with the regulatory stuff, you don't know what's going to happen either.
Yeah, you're very right about how you can't really change the policies of a crypto after they've been launched. Nobody's going to want to really touch Ethereum or the new fork of the DAO anytime soon. People are already scared away from exchanges and Bitcoin in general for large investors, just because of some of these more misfortunes in the crypto community. And I think they have a lot to do with affecting future products and future platforms that come out, because people are not so eager to fall into another scam.
And I don't think that the DAO meant, I don't think their intentions were bad. It's too bad that they forked. It's a really interesting experiment in crowdfunding, but yeah, people have much less confidence in the space after that happened. And it's pretty disappointing, because the nature of evolution of software is that shit like that happens. You can't catch everything. I mean, even the Linux, you see security vulnerabilities, at least once a year a new one is found. So it gets really tricky, because you want to be able to fix those problems, but when you have many people already invested in a current stack, then changing the system causes problems. So it's sort of a tough thing.
You have to patch all the holes in the boat before you take it sailing, or you're just gonna sink. Johnny Stone Archer, Dagwood, did you have any comments in the direction of Minds Coin improving off of Steemit and creating fairness?
Well, I think you guys are on to some great things. I'm not sure about. I kind of like Boost. I can appreciate with gaming, and but I think if Boost were limited in some way, points. If points were limited in some way, that you're gonna just easily acquire points all the time, then I don't think it would be wrong necessarily to boost something and still have that connected. As long as you had a way of limiting points, then you couldn't manipulate that yourself. But I think in the same breath, we can't just appreciate. I mean, it's a great idea to think that just because you have good content, it will get seen. Well, that of course isn't true. And boosts are a way of getting yourself out there, and it is self promotion. So I don't think that's wrong, because like you said, it's not wrong to make money. But some people, as far as views, I mean, are we going to all keep the views we have as is when this thing gets rolled out? Of course, because as we say that, some of us sit much higher than others. I mean, are we all going to just start at zero and work our way up again? I mean, there's some risky, it's just something to talk about. But I don't think having points necessarily connected, disconnected, is necessarily right either. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll start fresh when we launch it. So you won't lose your views that you had, but I don't think, for instance, I have a lot of views on my channel. I don't plan on, just because I have a lot of views, taking a lot of the coin. I think that the system, everyone should start even. but there's a lot of specifics. It's extremely complex. So hopefully I'll have a new doc for everyone to see in the next couple weeks, and we can really start breaking it down into dev tasks and getting it going. I got to hop in a few minutes.
Hey man, thanks a lot for coming by. This is really exciting though, regardless. But I appreciate all the time and the work, man. I really do. Thank you.
No, I mean honestly, you guys, I can't even express how important and awesome it is to have you involved and a part of Minds. It's you guys are the key part of the network. So everyone who's on here, everyone who's listening, thanks so much. And especially if you know any developers you think might want to get involved now that all the code is open source, please throw them my way. We're already getting some really great interest from some very talented programmers, and the more the merrier, because if we can get a dozen or 2 dozen really talented developers going at this, the pace of our growth and the pace of our development is going. I mean, we have 3 guys going full time now, but if we had like a fleet of developers, it's just, I can't even imagine how fast we will move. Like, we could see upgrades happening at just an exponential rate. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, guys, it looks like we're just over that hour-and-a-half mark. We might start to wrap things up. If anyone has any finishing statements on sort of Steemit, Minds Coin, or even the origins we started in Strawman, that'd be awesome. John, we'll start with Johnny, go Lee Travis, Dagwood, and then Stone Archer, and then back to me to finish it off.
Yeah. Well, what fun. Hey, Lee, if you want to shoot me your an email on the Minds thing, whatever, man, I will send you everything I got about international permits and all kinds of other stuff. I'll just send it to you, and then you can just go through it at your own leisure. This is another good panel. That's cool. Bill came by. That's cool. Man, it's exciting. This is an exciting time. And we'll just, I wish I was a developer, man. I wish I was a programmer. I wish I would have went to school and did something cool, man. Yeah, fuck. We should probably, read that, Lee. Go. I'll send you everything I got, man, and we could maybe do something again afterwards. But yeah, jeez, Minds crypto, maybe. I don't know. I really don't. That's a lot to wrap your head around. I'm excited though. But hey, thanks for having me, guys, and I'll see you on the next time.
That's great. Yeah, I'll shoot you my emails.
Looks like Lee cut out there. I'd just like to say, yeah, it was a great discussion today. Different topics I'll be chiming in more on later. I do want to throw in a plug for a name for the Minds Crypto. I think we should base it on or call it the Lumen. But I'll turn it over to Stone Archer with that.
Okay, duly noted. I'll put that in the old good book. Thanks, you guys. This has been a really wonderful discussion tonight. Really appreciate the fact that Bill stopped by. He had some great input. All of you did. It's been a really awesome time listening to everything everyone had to say. And yeah, as far as more information, Johnny, about the IDPs, I'd be very interested to know. I've done a little bit of research on them myself, but I just briefly in that realm, I do have the standpoint that there are certain things that I kind of don't want to just give my time to so I don't end up spending a lot of time researching them. It probably isn't the best idea to not know things just simply because I want to set them aside and not sort of lend them my time. But it really all kind of stemmed originally with me with a few thoughts, but one of them was that when I found out that marriage licenses were concocted by a eugenicist that just simply wouldn't, came up with a system where they wouldn't grant license of marriage to certain people unless they fit a certain ethnic profile. That was sort of one of the first things that opened my eyes to not asking permission. Um, I guess I would say I do come from the same standpoint that I would rather ask forgiveness, but not have to ask anything at all. But I'm also always interested in the topic. So any information you want to share is great. And thanks so much, you guys, for coming on. And I will turn it over.
Thanks for everyone for being here. I really identify with what Johnny and sort of what Bill said. We kind of, as far as Bill said, that if we had more developers, if we had a lot more programmers on the team, we'd really be moving a lot faster. And it sort of goes down to the Minds panel and all the people that dedicate their energy to things like this. We really propel these ideas, not only the project of Minds, but these ideas throughout this ecosystem of an alternative platform that we're in. We really propel it all forward, and it really is us, and it really does take our ideas to make this happen. Thanks for everyone for being here. It was awesome that Bill stopped by. It's been a great show, and hopefully we can reconvene about Minds Crypto and speculate on the direction Steemit's heading. But this has been a great show, guys. Gov Spiders, checking out later.
Hello?